both these cases, that is in the translational case and that is linear momentum and angular momentum, both are constant with time. Okay, so these two cases, that is in translational and rotational things, angular momentum and linear momentum both are constant with the time. Okay, so you can say a rigid body is said to be in equilibrium. Rigid body is said to be in equilibrium if both linear momentum and angular momentum are constant with the time. If both linear momentum and angular momentum and angular momentum okay, both of these are constant with the time. Okay, so we can have two kinds of motion, and in each of these, in case of translational motion, the linear momentum must be constant, and in case of rotational motion, we have the angular momentum must be constant. Then we can see that the rigid body is in equilibrium. Okay, and that means what it means, if linear momentum is constant and angular momentum is constant, that means linear acceleration is how much? 0, and angular acceleration is also 0. So in both these cases, so we have linear acceleration is 0 and angular acceleration also 0, and angular acceleration also 0. Okay, so both linear acceleration and angular acceleration is 0. Okay, now let us see one by one, that is your translational equilibrium and rotational equilibrium. So what are the conditions? We will see one by one. Okay, what are the conditions for your translational equilibrium and what are the conditions for your rotational equilibrium? So rigid body can have both kinds of motion simultaneously, that is your translational and rotational motion. So first one, let us see, that is your translational equilibrium. Okay, so in case of translational equilibrium, the total force must be 0. Translational equilibrium. Yes. So in case of translational equilibrium, for an object to be in translational equilibrium, the total force acting must be, the total external force acting must be 0. Okay. So the resultant of all the external forces acting on the body must be 0. The resultant of all the external forces, the resultant of all external forces acting on the body must be 0. Okay, so that means F external is equal to 0, summation of all the external forces, summation of F external equal to 0. Okay, this is how I can write external को नीचे लिखेंगे, confusion ना हो. Okay, this is the condition, that is for the object to be in translational equilibrium, the sum of all the external forces must be 0, which means individually in each component, okay, it must be 0. That is, for example, if you take any one, maybe fx must be equal to 0, fy also must be equal to 0, fz also must be equal to 0. Okay, so individually in the x direction, the total external force must be 0. Okay, summation. symbol भूल गया. Okay, so the total external force in the x direction must be 0, total external force in the y direction must be 0, and total external force in the z direction must be 0. So this is the condition. Okay, now if this is the condition, then let us apply Newton's law, Newton's second law. Applying Newton's second law, applying Newton's second law. Okay, so that is force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now in this case we have system, rigid body means just like system of particles. So what is the acceleration? Acceleration of which, what thing? Center of mass. Okay, so that is equal to m into a center of mass. So summation of F external m into ACM. So where capital M is the mass of that whole body and acceleration of the center of mass. Okay, this already we have studied while studying center of mass thing. The force must be equal to mass of the whole body and multiplied by acceleration of the center of mass. Okay, center of mass alone, that represents the whole body. Okay, so this is the thing. Then it can also be written as that is equal to m into acceleration can be written as your, okay, but this is 0. Let me write that also. एक और equation बनाएंगे. So this is equal to 0 because external force is equal to 0. Okay, so this implies MACM is equal to 0. Okay, now acceleration can be written as the time rate of change of your velocity, velocity of center of mass. So this implies m dv by dt is equal to 0. M can be taken this side, so I can write dvcm by dt is equal to 0. Okay, and finally I can write when derivative of something is 0, that means velocity of center of mass is equal to constant. Okay, so velocity of center of mass must be constant. Okay, so for translational equilibrium, either we have, that is the velocity of center of mass must be constant. Constant means either we have the velocity is equal to 0 or the velocity has some constant value, finite value. Okay, constant value, it's not changing. Okay, so if v is equal to 0, v is equal to constant, if the body is at rest, if v is equal to 0, we call it as static equilibrium. Okay, suppose body is lying here like this, no change. This is what is called as your static equilibrium. Okay, and if v is with some constant value like 5, 7, something like finite value, then it is called as, the equilibrium is called as dynamic equilibrium. Okay, let me write these things. So if velocity of center of mass is 0, if VCM is equal to 0, okay, that is the center of mass is at rest, the whole body is at rest, you can see in that situation. Okay, so it is called, if the body is at rest, it is called as static equilibrium. If the body is at rest, it is called static equilibrium. Okay, and if the body is having some finite value of the velocity, okay, and if the body is in uniform motion, finite value means in uniform motion. If the body is in uniform motion, if the body is in uniform motion, then it is called as It is called as dynamic equilibrium. Okay, dynamic equilibrium. But in both the cases, we have the velocity of center of mass that is constant. Okay, so in both cases, we have center of mass that is constant. Please. So this is about your translational equilibrium. So in case of translational equilibrium, we have the velocity of center of mass constant. If the body is at rest, it is called as static equilibrium. If the body is in the uniform motion, then it is called as dynamic equilibrium. Okay, it's not that if the body is moving with uniform velocity, it is not in equilibrium. It is in equilibrium. That is what is called as your dynamic equilibrium. Okay. Next, rotational equilibrium. Okay, so what is the condition for rotational equilibrium? Let us see. So in case of translational equilibrium, we saw that the total external force must be 0. Okay, so in case of rotational equilibrium, we have the equivalence of force, that is the total external torque must be equal to 0. Okay, so the resultant of torques due to all the forces acting on the body must be 0 in case of rotational equilibrium. Rotational equilibrium. So in case of rotational equilibrium, we have the resultant of all the torques, resultant of all the torques. The resultant of torques due to all the forces. The resultant of torques due to all the forces. All the forces acting on the body must be 0. Acting on the body must be 0. Okay. Yes, so this is the condition, that is the torque due to all the external forces, okay, must be acting on the body must be 0. Okay, so for rotational equilibrium, we can write the summation of external torque, that is nothing but you can write in this form. Torque is R cross F, so I can write the summation of R I cross Fi must be 0. Okay, so both of these things are equal and that must be 0. Okay, simply I have written summation. You can write I is equal to 1 to n. That depends upon you. Okay, no problem. Even if you don't write, no problem. Okay. So summation of the torques, that is external torques, must be equal to 0. That is nothing but summation of Ri cross Fi. This must be equal to 0. Okay. And here one more thing, that is the point of rotation, that is the reference point, is not important. Okay. If in this case the point of reference is not important, that is for rotational equilibrium, the choice of point of rotation is not important. Okay. For rotational equilibrium, choice of point of rotation must be choice of point of rotation is not important. That means whatever point you choose, the object or the system should be in rotational equilibrium. Okay, so you can write, if the total torque is 0 about any point, then it is 0 about any other point when the object is in equilibrium. Okay, so I can write that also. If the body is in rotational equilibrium about any point, rotational equilibrium about any point, any given point, then it is also equilibrium at any other chosen point. Okay, that is your choice. Okay, then it will be sorry, wait a minute. Okay, so if the total torque is 0 about any point, let me write it in different way. If the total torque is 0 about any point, then it will be 0 about any other point. Instead of equilibrium, let me write total torque. Okay, so if the total torque is 0 about any point, then it will be 0 about any other point. Then it will be 0 about any other point. Okay, so point of reference is not important. For example, this is our point of reference. This is a system. Okay, rigid body. Maybe if it is in equilibrium, then if I change the system from here to here, reference point, then also the body is still at equilibrium. Okay, still at equilibrium. If it is not, that means rotational equilibrium is there with reference to this point O. Okay, then if I change the reference point maybe to O dash, even then it is still in the rotational equilibrium. Okay, its rotational equilibrium will not change from or due to the change in reference point. Okay, that is the thing. Now next is work done. So expression for work done when both translational and rotational motion is there. Let us see what is the expression for work done. So here what we are going to do, we are going to use the formula for work done, that is force into displacement. Okay, so expression for work done in combined rotational and translational motion. Expression for work done, expression for work done in combined rotational and translational motion. Rotational and translational motion. Okay. Okay, so let us see what is the expression when the object is having both rotational motion and translational motion. Okay, now if the object is having translational motion, first we will see the translational part and then we'll add rotational part there. Okay, together. So when, let us say, a rigid body is there, so it can have two kinds of motion. Just now we discussed, one is your translational motion, another one is your rotational motion. So if the object has two kinds of motion, so first kind, let us say it is translational, and let us say the object is moving with velocity v0. Okay, so when the object is moving with velocity v0, that means all its particles are moving with velocity v0. Okay, so let us see this situation. If the object is moving with velocity, v0, okay, that means all its particles are moving with velocity v0. It means all its particles are moving with velocity v0. velocity v0. Okay, so that means the displacement by this whole object or any particle, okay, the displacement by the whole object in time duration delta t is equal to, so in a small time interval delta t, in a small time interval delta t, in a small time interval, displacement is equal to displacement of body. Okay, displacement का symbol let us keep it as delta s. Okay, so displacement delta s is equal to v naught is the velocity, okay, vector quantity, and delta t. So this is the expression for your displacement. Okay, so displacement when the time interval is small time interval is delta t, then the displacement is delta s is equal to v naught delta c. Okay, now we have got displacement for translational. Now let us come to let us try to find the displacement in case of your rotational motion. Okay, now let us say point P is there and it is rotating about axis, one axis is there. So let me draw this figure. Maybe this is the plane, something like this, and this is axis of rotation. It is rotating with angular, okay, velocity omega. Maybe this is the reference point P, not reference point, this is the point in question P, okay, and this is the reference point O. R is the position vector, okay, so point P is there, O is reference point, so point P is at a position that is R vector from the reference point O. So this is the R perpendicular, okay, perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation, R perpendicular, okay, whatever is it is, we don't know, okay, we name it as R perpendicular, and let us say the angle is theta. So R perpendicular is nothing but R sine theta, okay, so this is the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation. So it is rotating, this point P is rotating this on this plane with angular rotation, that is your omega, and it is at a distance or at a position R vector from the point O. Okay, now in this case let us find out the displacement of this point in the small time interval delta t. Okay, in the small time interval delta t. Now if the point P is rotating around this with reference to this point O about this axis of rotation, whatever it is name, you can name it A, B, C, D, whatever, okay, then it obviously depends upon R perpendicular. The velocity of this point depends upon this line. If it is more, angular velocity is constant, okay, if it is more, maybe velocity is more or less, we don't know. If it is less, maybe velocity or that will obviously change, clear, because it has to cover more distance when the radius is more. It has to cover only less distance when the radius is less, clear. So that's why it travels different distances when the radius changes, clear. If radius is small, it has to travel small distance only. If the radius is more, it has to travel more distance, okay, because angular velocity, the during any time interval, that is delta t, the sweep in the angle is constant, okay. Therefore if the object is at a distance r which is more, that means it has to travel more distance, okay. So therefore the velocity of this particle in case of translational, in case of rotational motion, let us see. If the angular velocity is omega, we have already written here, if angular velocity is omega or omega naught, whatever you can write, okay, and our origin is point O, okay, then the particle has velocity, then velocity of the particle velocity of particle. Okay, only the magnitude part we'll see now. Then we'll combine with the direction. So then the velocity of the particle v is equal to, what can I write? V is equal to, I can write, this is the distance, that is r perpendicular, and angular velocity, that is omega. R, okay, only magnitude. So r perpendicular omega, that is the velocity of the particle at this point P. Clear? Now in vector form I can write, in vector form I can write v vector is equal to r cross omega. Okay, sorry, omega cross r होगा, direction is important here, थोड़ा change करेंगे. Okay, otherwise the velocity direction will reverse. Omega cross r. Okay, so this is the expression for your velocity vector of the point P. Clear? Yeah, so if this is the expression for velocity vector, then the displacement, let us find out displacement, then only we can find the work done if displacement is there. So equation 1 will make use after some time. So displacement in time interval delta t, displacement of particle in small time interval delta t, in small time interval delta t will be how much? Velocity is already known to us, so the displacement will be equal to, yeah, velocity multiplied by delta t. So we have got expression for velocity. Okay. Who is that? So expression for velocity we have already got. So that is equal to omega cross r multiplied by delta t. Now delta t can be taken inside. It is a constant one. So omega delta t cross r, I can write like this. Omega is angular velocity and delta t. So I can make changes here and I can write a angular displacement del phi, let us say. Okay, cross r. Angular displacement multiplied by r. Okay, cross product of angular displacement multiplied by r, because angular velocity into delta t. Angular velocity is nothing but angular displacement by time into this one. So this is only angular displacement. Okay. So we have finally got the expression for your displacement in case of your rotational motion. Okay, already we got expression for displacement in case of translational motion. Now we'll combine both of these. Okay, so when the rigid body rotates with angular velocity omega, and when it has linear velocity v, then the total displacement, the displacement at any point r is equal to, let us write, let me write it in more clear way. When a body is having angular velocity omega and linear velocity v, so when a body is having angular velocity omega and linear velocity v, then the displacement at any point r, okay, displacement at any point r, this thing, this is the point P, about this axis at a position of r. Okay, then displacement of a point at r, then displacement of a point at r okay, total displacement is equal to, suppose the displacement, I write total displacement as delta r, then delta r is equal to linear displacement plus angular displacement. Okay, so that is equal to v naught delta t, this is the linear displacement, plus angular displacement del phi cross r. Okay, this is how I can write delta phi cross r. Clear? Yes. Now omega del t cross r. Yes, no problem. Okay, so it is correct. Now this one can be written as, let me change this one to maybe like delta s. Okay, linear displacement delta s plus delta phi cross r. Okay, delta s साथ change कर लेंगे, velocity into time, that is the linear displacement only. Okay, now this is the expression for your total displacement. Clear? So if this is total displacement and if force F is acting on the body, then total work done is equal to, so work done is equal to, let me write it here. So work done is equal to yes. So work done is equal to, we have the expression for work done, that is F dot delta R. Okay, so that is equal to F dot delta R is this much, del S plus del phi cross R. So that is equal to, distributive law we can make use here, F dot delta S plus F dot del phi cross R. Okay, I think it is visible to you. Okay. So then that is equal to, let me simplify it a little bit. See the second part will simplify. Now F dot okay, we can make use of, we can make changes here by using your scalar triple product. Okay, by using scalar triple product we can write, we can shift it anyway, no problem. So by using scalar triple product, okay, that is cyclic, as scalar triple product is cyclic, cycling in the sense you can shift it, okay, no problem, in a cycle way. F delta phi and R, उसको कोई भी starting कोई भी end लेके shift कर सकते हो, there is no problem. So you can make shift here and finally write it as F dot delta phi cross R can be written as, how can I write this one? That is equal to delta phi dot R cross F. R cross F. Now what is R cross F? R cross F is nothing but your tau. Okay, that is your torque. Okay, that is the torque. Okay, so I can write tau dot delta phi or delta phi dot tau, both are same. So therefore work done is equal to del W is equal to, we have F dot delta S plus tau dot delta phi. Now you can see the total work done. Expression for total work done is the work done in the translational part and rotational part. Okay. So this is the F dot delta S, work done in when the object is displacing delta S distance. Okay. The displacement is delta S when the force F is acting. Then this is the translational part where work is being done. Now we have another part because the object is also rotating. Okay. So tau dot delta phi. Clear? Del phi. So tau dot del phi, where this is the torque and del phi is the displacement. Clear? So this is about the total work done on the rigid body. Clear? Yes. So for today, we can stop here. There are some small terms, and next moment of inertia is there that will start next class. Okay. Okay, students. So section B students, you have to mark your attendance in the classroom itself. I have created one link there. Okay, you mark your attendance. And
Thank you, sir.
Section A students, I'll take attendance. Yeah, section B, you can mark your attendance and then you can leave. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.